Hey guys, today I'm heading out to see one of my friends from class, and he works at JE Pistons. So for those of you who don't know, JE Pistons is an industry leader in a lot of motorsports, and he's going to show me his facility where he works. And he says that they don't currently make the pistons in-house anymore, but he said it's a cool thing to check out, and he wants to show me his new 2021 Porsche. So we're gonna check that car out, and he says we're gonna go for a rip, so it should be fun. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. See you there. All right, so I just pulled up, and I think that may be the car we're gonna be checking out today. All right, so we're gonna go grab some lunch in this thing. I'll film the experience, and then if we have a chance, I'll talk about it some more after. Okay, so here's this really clean interior, digital cluster over there, and nice red interior with back seats. And this thing is super clean because it was just made, huh? Was it handmade or something, or what?
You order them to you special order them, so you call out interior colors, certain options. It has like road race ready, so it's you can have a sport car. So it's like a lap timer that links in with this. So you can do lap timing, you can do G-force, and then there's an app you can get that does full track data logging.
Oh, so
cool. It'll link in with this for G-forces, acceleration, and then you can link it with whatever else you want.
Oh, I see. That's cool. For sure. Let's go check this thing out. So, do you have any plans for building the motor?
No. If I do, I'll buy another motor and then build that on the side. But they're like 30 grand just for a long block. That's out of a crash car.
This is crazy because I don't know. I just love how it's a bone stock car that's this good.
Yeah, I mean it does 450 to the wheels, bone stock.
450 wheel.
Yeah,
it's decent.
And they rate the engine at 447 or something. Wow. So there's a reflash that you can get from a company called M Engineering. It does 590 wheel.
Wow.
So
with just a reflash?
Yeah. I mean, it's
cat delete and intake and stuff, or what?
So no, you can run factory intake. It's pretty good as it is. It's a couple of companies called BMC. They run a Canon style filter, and then you can do cats. The thing is, the turbos are right off the side of the engine, so it goes turbo. The cat is literally bolted by a V band right to the back of the turbo, and then it just turns right into the exhaust. So you can get 200 cell high flow cats, or you can get catless, but it's pretty good as it is.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, you can make well over 500 wheel without doing anything.
Yeah, so just a flash.
Yeah, they're pretty overbuilt. The factory block is closed deck, factory forged pistons, factory forged rod, factory forged crank. So it's a lot of built-in safety. And the GTS motor or the car that's coming out in a couple months is also the same platform with the same internals, a little bit bigger compressor wheel, but it makes I think 470. So there's a lot of overhead.
So what do you think they consider this? Is this an exotic car or just a high-end sports car, or what?
No, I mean it's an overpriced Volkswagen. No, I mean to me I think exotic car is closer to a Lambo. Or
something with a two-door and two-seater? Yeah,
a Ferrari, a Lambo, or an R8, something along the lines of that. So I've probably seen more 911s driven on the freeway, so I drive to work 3 days a week at 6 a.m. and me and 10 other 911s are driving into the office, whereas I don't see any Lambos or R8s driving into the office.
Oh, okay.
So I would say that an exotic is not truly a drive to work everyday car, whereas I've been driving this several times a week, every day, and it's pretty solid.
Oh, I see. That's cool. Yeah. So what kind of MPG would you estimate this thing gets?
So if I leave it in normal mode, it goes into 8th gear, and I can get over 30.
Oh wow, 30?
Yeah, because the if you look at how the gearing is, the car is supposed to go 191-ish. So there's so much gearing on it that once it's in 8th gear, it's under 2,000 RPM, cruising at 85 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
So it's really easy to. It's kind of how vets have overdrive with a T56. that you can just get crazy gas mileage with them. So same thing on this. And then in like Sport Plus mode, which is what it's in now, it tears through fuel. So I got the extended gas tank, which makes it 100 liter total. So it's like almost 25 gallons.
Oh, wow.
So it's huge for a car like this. And then like, because this is a rear wheel drive only, if you do and the extra fuel cell is where they would put the center and front diff to go to the all wheel drive. Mm-hmm. So you can only get it with rear wheel drive configurations.
So, is it mid-engine or what?
No. So mid-engine is only the Cayman Boxster, which is like called the 718. So this is full rear engine with the transmission in front. Only the Cayman Boxster is inverse of that.
Oh, so this is like full-on rear engine, not even mid-engine?
Yeah. So the Cayman and Boxsters are probably, if you're a road racer, you should get that because they're faster. Like all things being equal, a Cayman or Boxster is going to probably outperform a 911. And usually a 911 is just overpowered. So it's, that's where you're getting your speed from. But ultimately a mid-engine is like the best handling option. So like the new GT4 RS, which is like the Cayman, which is mid-engine rear-wheel drive, 4-liter, big horsepower car that's coming out. That should probably be faster than this, twin turbo 3-liter.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So this is what, inline 6?
So this is a flat 6, 3-liter twin turbo.
Sure. That's cool.
So kind of like a Subaru style, like a Subaru 6-cylinder.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
Whereas this, it's like the computer does a lot more to it, and it's a little bit easier to manage.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I've seen like those supercharged V8s that even if they're in like 3rd or 4th gear, they're already going 100. They start milking the tires on the freeway and stuff.
Yeah, because all the power is like 1,500 RPM and higher. So it's like it starts their torque range so low, and like you go from 100 horse to 400 or 500 within like a couple hundred RPM. So it's easy to break traction.
Yeah, unless you have like some big fat slicks on, even then some struggle.
And I think that's where like domestic cars really shine, is like, you put slicks on them and it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
But on the street, it's pretty easy to beat unless they have like fat, like drag pack tires, where they have skinnies and some massive drag radial.
So have you ever burned any rubber in this thing, like a burnout or a donut or anything?
No, not yet. Huh? I'm gonna try to buy another set of wheels and tires. It's so hard to find. So like this model has rear axle steering, and with that you have to have 21s in the rear. So it's like it runs at a 305, and I'm trying to buy like a 21 by like 11.5 or 12. And this pattern and the wheel I want and the tire I want, it's just like everything's on back order.
So this thing's like 4-wheel steering?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it has rear axle. So like below 30 miles an hour, it turns opposite direction for like narrower turns, and then above 52 or something like that, it turns same direction. So your turns on high speed, like over 100 miles an hour, are not over exaggerated. So if I was to turn a little bit, it would soften the turn. So if I go like wheel to wheel, it'll really soften it so I don't crash.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot of technology.
Yeah.
This thing must be insane on the Nürburgring, or like any track.
Yeah. So like the thing about 911s is there's like a million versions of them, and nobody knows. Like if you don't own one or you haven't looked at it, it's impossible to know. So there's like GT3, GT3 RS, there's a 911 Carrera S, Carrera S2 wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. There's GT2, GT2 RS. And so when you hear people talk about like, oh, in Nürburgring they did like 690 or 659 or something like that, it's like it's hard to distinguish which car it was. But the difference from a Carrera and a GT2 RS is like double the horsepower, right? So one is substantially faster, one's a twin turbo 720 horsepower car, and then the lowest end car is like 370 horsepower. So there's a huge difference between one model over another. But like if you don't really know 911s, they look like 99% exactly the same, outside of some aero and some like body panels. But like to a regular person, you'd never know.
So what about like, sometimes lower power is better. Do those low powered cars like do pretty close to the performance around a track as like the higher powered ones, or is it no? Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So like, but there's a threshold. So if you look at a GT3, so a GT3 is a 4-liter, 6-cylinder natural aspirated engine, and so that makes 500 horsepower, and so it's like 50 more horsepower than this, which is like a twin turbo.
And it's NA.
Yeah, it's NA, exactly. Yeah. So like a 4-liter NA is really good power, and then the RS version is like 520 horsepower. So they make crazy power, but I think it's a combination of like more power and the model specific for road racing. So any like GT car is like a road race specific car. They don't have rear seats. Like this one has rear seats for my kids. Like there's probably a booster seat back there. So they're more race specific. The GT3 has double wishbone, where this is like McPherson strut. So
what's the McPherson? I know double wishbone. But...
So McPherson strut is where you have like a lower control arm, and instead of an upper control arm, which is like the double wishbone, which would be like this, it only has a lower, and then it basically has a shock and coil in one, and that's connecting to the body. So you have no upper link except for the strut itself.
Oh, for sure.
And it's really good for packaging because like you don't have an upper arm altogether, but you don't get the really fine tuning of double wishbone.
Like that adjustability or what?
Yeah, exactly. So like if you want a road race, like awesome race car, you're gonna have a double wishbone because you can control every aspect of it. And you like basically through the entire travel, it's like max handling. Whereas this with the McPherson, your travel is like very limited. So with the double wishbone, you can control exactly how the tire tracks. And again, it's for ride comfort, it's for like cost. So that's why, you know, race cars like a GT3 has a double wishbone versus like this same exact chassis has a McPherson.
Oh, I see, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess to your point is it's not just power, but typically on 911s, more power is probably faster.
Yeah. So because if you take like any car and you just add a lot of power to it, it doesn't make it a better car on the track necessarily. So
yeah, and really that's manufacturing specific, right?
Yeah.
So like if you get a Chrysler, like you can get a Charger, you can get like a regular Charger, you can get like a Hellcat, you can get a Demon, you can get all these cars, right? Like, but really Chrysler isn't making them like very road friendly, right? So like the difference is just they keep piling on more horsepower. The cars are still crazy heavy, but they're not really changing all that much design of the car for like these massive horsepower amounts. Whereas like when you get a certain other car, it's very like, okay, say you get one model that's 370 horse and then you get one that's like 520 horse. The 520 horsepower variant of say a 911 is very track specific. So they're adding power, but they're adding also all the other things that you need to put that power to the ground on the track. Whereas I don't think a Chrysler Hemi car is doing that. Now, like Camaros, you know, if you get like their
Brazil one.
Yeah, like that's a very road race. So not only did they increase power, but they did everything else to accommodate that. So,
yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, and I think it's brand specific, right? Yeah. Like if you buy a Civic Type R versus a Civic, you get more power, and there's a lot of like aero and suspension that come with it.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, aftermarket, you put more power on. I think it's terrible for traction unless you do all the things required. But if a factory doing it, you're probably getting all the benefits because it's designed properly.
Yeah, it's like the experts with all the experience and all that.
Yeah, you know, like you put a bunch of stuff into suspension and tuning and all that kind of stuff, and it's like it's probably okay, but the factory probably just spent like $300 million on all that whole setup. So it's hard to compete with an OE when they're really focused.
Oh yeah, when they're like all about performance, especially.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, do you know how the new Corvette's mid-engine?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that a little insane? What do you think? Do you think that like they could handle doing that without getting like insane snap oversteer problems or anything?
Yeah. Again, it's the whole engineering thing. They spent more money and time on that platform. So that's like Corvette is like the bread and butter and the pinnacle of like Chevy's performance line, right? So like that's where all their time and effort is into. And if you look at like every manufacturer right now, you're either like putting your money into EV or you're putting it into your pinnacle cars. So like say Chevy has like their Corvette. So like all their badass development engineers that aren't working on everything else get to work on like this now, which is, I think we're at a crossroad where it's really cool because you have a lot of engineers that would normally be working on like other crappy models, and because they're not developing new engines, they can work on stuff they want to work on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad like this era, we're getting a lot of like high performance cars again.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing I could have imagined. I thought it was the end of them for real, but that's nice. Yeah, like even the people that are focused on electric, even they want to do performance.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And there's a lot of like new performance oriented stuff. I mean, look how much power they're coming out with. I think when they solve like the issue of getting as many people up to speed with electric as possible, I think it's gonna be a lot better. But you know, we still have challenges with like battery, and they're still good. Like the biggest issue everyone talks about is like, well, if everybody had an electric car, the grid doesn't support it, right? So
yeah.
like those are fundamental issues that have to get worked out. But I mean, if you would have brought a bunch of gas cars back in huge influx, like whatever, I don't know, 80 years ago, people would probably say there's not enough gas stations of oil production. So the market tends to find a way to figure it out when money's there.
Yeah.
So I'm confident at some point in time it'll get sorted with enough money behind it.
Yeah, I think within like the next 10 years, it should be the majority of what's on dealerships, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some government mandates which kind of force that, but I think what they say they want to do and what they're going to do is probably going to be somewhere in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because a lot of companies like say, yeah, we want to have either fully electric or hybrid variants, and I think what people think is it's going to go from internal combustion engine straight to what they call BEV, is battery electric vehicle, but it's going to be middle ground for a long time. Like there's pretty much zero all electric Hondas compared to like every other brand, right?
Yeah.
So I always look at like the big brands like Honda and Toyota to see where they're tracking, because that's like they can roll out massive changes very quickly with a lot of money.
Yeah, because like they sell so many models.
Yeah, exactly. So like when they want to make a change, and they're like, what you see them doing is like truly where the industry is going to be going, because they can, and they're very massive, right? Like, so Honda's a small version of a great run Japanese company, and Toyota's like massive. Like I think they go back and forth with GM on who's the biggest giant in the world for automotive. So when you see them making changes, then you can go, okay, like this is happening.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't really. Where are we going? I don't know.
Another thing, you know, it's pretty crazy how of all companies, the only ones that were able to handle like Formula E was Lucid.
Well, again, like it's where you want to put your money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think any manufacturer could have done anything. It's just like, what's it worth to them, right? So I watched something on Formula E that was saying like, okay, Audi and Mercedes and a couple other companies were backing out, and they were backing out because they were using Formula E for like pushing their own technology. And at some point when they go, okay, our technology is good enough for whatever like the industry requires right now, we don't need to spend any more money. And then their statement was, we'll re-enter that market when we run into like technical hurdles and we need to overcome those hurdles. So some brands just say, hey, we're not gonna do anything because we don't really care, because our technology is good enough for now.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool that like a lot of the motorsports is going electric now too.
Yeah, and hybrid electric. So you see a lot of like NSX, right?
Yeah. Like
big horsepower internal combustion engine and hybrid assist. Ferrari, same thing. And 2024 911, same thing, hybrid powered. So
that's probably like the best of both worlds, on, because you get your nice like the electric part gets charged up while you're driving on the fuel part, huh? Yeah,
and I think depending on how companies do it, like you will have really great like gas mileage management, so you'll be able to go really far, or you'll have crazy horsepower. I mean, it probably won't be uncommon to see performance cars in the 800 to 1,000 horsepower range, because they're splitting, like they're making front drive axles be 100% electric, where you can do like 200 to 300 horsepower per motor. So you could see probably 300 to 600 horsepower come from electric alone, and then the rest coming from gasoline engine.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it'll be pretty crazy.
It's a big step for like the high performance exotics and all that.
Yeah, it is. Not that great for like manufacturers like us, because the factories are factory engines are so good that it's like rare to see someone outside of like the really niche guys rebuilding all this stuff. So you see, like, 20 years ago you'd see people rebuilding Mercedes and Porsche engines and I guess Ferraris, and you don't see that really often anymore. I mean, there's a select group of people that do like Texas 2K and twin turbo kits on their Lambos. And,
those things are sick, yeah.
And those aren't a representative of what the majority is doing.
Yeah.
So I would say it's kind of sad from our standpoint, because we see this market that is really cool, but it's not that many people are participating.
Yeah. All right, so you don't have to answer this, but do you think JE will adapt to electric?
So JE as a brand, probably not that brand, but we're part of a larger group, which is already exploring like performance options for EV and BEV.
Okay.
And suspension, and there's a whole part of our industry that is not just engines.
Yeah.
So I think there's opportunity with suspension, with brakes, with manufacturing of other stuff, and there's still like, it's at the very, very beginning right now.
Yeah.
Like Holley is doing a really amazing job at like completely understanding what people are doing. They have like an electric full road racing event that's this weekend. So like everybody is adopting it. So like
Holley's hosting that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I forget what it's called, but I have a couple buddies that work there, and so it's like, it's really interesting to see all the brands do it. So I wouldn't say JE as in JE Pistons, because that life, it's just not going to exist. But certainly one of the brands that are affiliated with JE and one of our sister companies, or the whole industry will make it work.
And there'll also be that niche in the future that's all about piston engines.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we've been developing them for so long. We do some OEM stuff, and so like we're there, and there'll be commercial stuff will always be there, and there'll be synthetic fuels and all these other things that'll make it work. So it's not like it's going away in our lifetime, just maybe on the road like we see it here. But racing is hopefully here to stay forever, and there'll always be a group of people that just love to hear engines and have the nice analog feel of racing.
Yeah, different countries at least, not even.
Yeah.
Even if we don't.
Yeah, so it's we'll see. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
SEMA had a pretty cool thing, like an article that they shared from, I want to say like the late 70s, and it was out of a magazine saying, EFI is coming, and it was basically doom and gloom. Like basically everybody was coming from carburetors, and no one was really prepared for EFI. And they thought the whole aftermarket industry was going to crumble because of this new technology. And look where we are today. Like EFI is like the pinnacle of like tuning. There's basically, we have mastered everything. Even aftermarket stuff is mastered. Basically, after a car comes out, shortly after, every company reverse engineers the ECU and basically unlocks it, makes it better, makes cars faster. And it's like, you look back far enough and that was impossible. So again, like electric and all this stuff, the challenges we see today will probably look just as ridiculous as EFI coming on board did in the 70s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just a matter of time, but everyone's going to do something about it. Like,
yeah,
there's always that ambitious person that wants to go faster.
If there's a business opportunity, people will do it.
Tons of people want it too.
Yeah, at least in our country.
Yeah.
But there's some like regulations that we're trying to battle. Like, I don't know if you know, like there's something called the RPM Act.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to basically say if a car didn't start out as a race car, you can't take a factory car and race it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so hopefully that goes away. And for anybody watching, certainly look that up and try to reach out to local legislation on making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that actually sounds like an infringement of our rights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but certainly there are smart people that know about it, and boy, that'll, not only does it cripple an industry, but it's like, man, imagine all the people, like we all grew up loving cars, and it's like you want to take a car and have fun with it, and basically you see all this stuff, there's entire movies on it, and it's going to be a shame for that to go away because of some misinformation.
Yeah, that wouldn't be cool. grab some In-N-Out, and we're heading back to JE Pistons right now. I think he's gonna show me some of the stuff they make there.
But it was like they did it so they could like.
So we're heading back to JE Pistons, and we're about to do a pull as we get onto the freeway. Look at this giant screen, that's so cool. This is for sure like one of the best like all around street cars.
Yeah,
for performance.
It's just expensive.
Yeah. How much are these? 100 grand, right?
They're more than that.
More than 100 grand?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fair though. It looks like everything's high quality and high performance.
Yeah. I could buy maybe like 2 or 3 Supras.
Yeah. Damn.
The model I wanted was 215. How's that? But I didn't have that much.
So after chatting with them and going for the drive and all that, we had a great time. I don't know if you want me to tell you guys how much this car costed, but it was almost 200 grand. So this is a very high-end, very expensive performance car. And well, when you feel the performance, you get really, like, I don't know. I think it's worth every dollar because it's so hard to get something to perform this well and still be that comfortable. So if you have the money and you want to have the best of both worlds and performance as well as comfort and luxury, this is definitely a good choice to consider. With that being said, unfortunately we took too long driving around and getting our meals, so I'm not gonna get to check out the shop today, but I still had a great time and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nick says he's gonna bring me something, so I'll show you guys what that is in a second. But anyway, that was still a fun time. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed it, found it entertaining. And yeah, me and him are definitely gonna get some more footage in the future because he's interested in tracking, and you guys know I love to track. So let me know if you guys would like to see this thing drifting at Adams or doing some time attack. We're definitely gonna do some stuff, but yeah, just be ready to see that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know what I could do better. Whatever. Let me know how you feel about it. If you've ever been in one of these, if you'd ever own one of these, if you like them. If you drive it in Forza, if you drive it in a Assetto Corsa, whatever. Let me know. Here's a souvenir. That's super sick. Thank you.
Yep.
Piston and rod. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you for being in my video today.
Yeah.
I had a great time with you, man. And I told the viewers that we're most likely going to get some more footage once we go to the track. So I'll see you then next time.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.
Look at that. What a cool souvenir. Thanks for that, Nick. I appreciate your time today and this nice gift. Remember, everybody, subscribe to my channel so you can see some more action because there's a lot that goes on in my life and I like to film it. So remember to subscribe. See you later.